Welcome to another edition of the 1standtrn Parkway Grill High School Football Forecast. Still a lot of teams left to play. We got a recap last week, and
yeah, I don't know if we were forecasting we'd have 5 11-man teams playing.
Yeah, that's usually, it's been a good year when you have that many teams playing. There are a lot of areas that don't have near as many teams going. So it's and Ryder's coming off a big showing last week, and they've got another big game this week.
Yeah, and I mean we had a couple teams that lost twice in non-district. I guess Holiday and Ryder both, and have really turned it around. Holiday hadn't lost since then, and Ryder's just lost once since then.
Seymour.
So we had teams, and Seymour too. We had teams
in the regular season and knocked out 2 unbeaten.
We had some teams that really recovered and played their best football in October and November.
And Ryder's definitely one of those teams. What do you think last week against Saline?
Well, I mean, I thought they'd win. I thought they'd win by about that margin. I didn't forecast the weather. I didn't know that the game would play out like that. We would have, no passing yards for Ryder and very few for Killeen. So it's just kind of a defense running game. And this week, if it's not windy, I think we'll see back to more of a traditional Ryder game where they do want to run, probably 65-70% of the time, but they'll hit you with some throws too. Defense is the key again. They're playing a midway team that didn't score last week with their offense against Denton Ryan. I'd call it that they beat Denton Ryan. I didn't know they could
do it on this show last week.
I didn't know they could do it without scoring a touchdown.
Off the Denton Ryan, not really an upset, but I mean a little bit. It probably surprised some people who just looked at rankings and records through the years. So.
Yeah, this midway defense apparently is really good, and Ryder, a lot of their work cut up for. Ryder's offensive line has gotten pretty good, and I think if they play a clean game and don't have big penalties, I'm not convinced that Ryder was going to go down at all. I think they've got a good chance.
They got to get past the state court, regional final hump at some point. I mean, they've been close a few times, and they've had chances in the past. And then, last year was really the first time they'd gotten blown out the last few years in this round.
Yeah, from a Ryder standpoint, the Alito game kind of got away in 04.
Should be
in a shootout, and the game out in Lubbock against Friendship was very winnable. And so, they've been right there with one more play, one less fumble most of the time. They had chances to put Everman kind of away, and Everman wasn't really a comeback team with a passing game. Couldn't do it. Everman was a good team. It wasn't a bad loss, but that was another winnable game. I believe that was at Texas Stadium.
Speaking of not getting over the hump, Holiday you saw them play last week. They for most of the year they played really well. They had I thought a letdown their first playoff game, but they obviously rebounded from that. I think Coach Wolf told me the other day they're using that 51-yard field goal as like that just kind of gave them new life almost. And they're playing well, but they haven't gotten past this with Wolf. I think once they're in the 90s, but it seems like this is the round they've gone down a lot of times in the past, and they're playing a tough Cisco team this week. That ought to be a pretty good game.
Yeah, and when you get to this regional final, you can't hide from good opponents any longer. You don't just go win a region by accident. So it's been tough. All those teams, I think they played Canadian maybe. Sometimes they played some good teams.
Cisco 1 year,
and Cisco's undefeated, so that this one won't be easy either. I'm not sure the Holiday might not have been tested a little bit more than Cisco has, but then Cisco beat Idalou last week, which was the defending state champ. So that's hard to when you knock off a team like that, you're pretty good.
Yeah. You can go 10-0 sometimes and not really be tested, but once you get to this round, you haven't got tested at some point. And that ought to be a pretty good game. That game's going to be out Springtown Friday. A game in town on Friday is going to be pretty interesting as well. Monday, Windthorst. It's a district rematch. Windthorst has swept them out of the playoffs last year, played them this year, won by about 20. But this is a closer game than I think the score indicated. And Monday's playing really well right now.
Yeah, this is. If I'm just a regular guy in Wichita Falls and I'm not going down to that Ryder game, I'm going out to the stadium to watch Monday and Windthorst. And both those sides will be creating lots of racket.
Yeah.
And should be a lot of big plays in that game. And
I think I had 7 touchdowns in the fourth quarter last time.
Yeah.
and a lot of those were big plays.
That would be hard to duplicate.
Yeah.
But those even, with as many films as they have this time of year, those two offenses are hard to slow down. The only sometimes what keeps the score down is if Windthorst goes on a methodical drive. But lately they've been breaking so many 40-yard runs.
Yeah.
Even they haven't been taking that long with the ball.
No, they really haven't had to grind out a bunch of big drives, long drives. There's a lot of big playmakers in this game too, and you just last time all those guys had good games. Hager threw for 250. Berardi had a defensive touchdown and had a big touchdown run. Paul ran for a couple hundred. Roger Taylor ran for $130. I mean,
how does Paul compare? Because he's one of the guys I haven't got to see. I've seen on some TV highlights. I got to see DJ Brown from City View at kind of this level that could just run around people. I mean, how does he compare to the big playmaker? They had I saw the Thompson kid play a few years ago. And just spectacular.
Yeah, he's definitely like Thompson is. I think maybe even Thompson had a better arm. Their passing game still can be hit or miss, and I know that's something they've worked on a lot. He's running the offense really smooth now. That even Coach Green told me this week that was one of the things that he's been impressed with. It's his understanding of that offense and pulling it when you have to pull it. And they do the zone read and just his maturation. Last year was his first year as a starter at quarterback, and even known someday the Urbanza kid played a little bit at quarterback. So this is kind of his first real year at quarterback completely, and the line's blocking well, and he's probably faster than DJ Brown. DJ Brown's lateral movement was unbelievable. He could go from here to here.
Sideways, pretty fast.
Yeah, and I haven't seen DePaul really do that, but he really hasn't had to. I mean, he
can make progress as he's hitting that corner.
Yeah,
and that's one reason because Monday's blocking better.
Monday's blocking real well, and they have like 6 or 7 kickoff returns for touchdowns this year. I think they had 6, and their fullback just got one last week. So I mean, you got to watch. I mean, that's almost one a game. At this point, one almost every other game. So I mean, you got to watch out. DePaul had one against Windthorst last game. But Windthorst isn't going to, pooch the ball, it sound like. They're going to just hopefully, try to get down there and cover. It's just going to be a fun game to watch. Both of these teams are executing really well right now, and I expect the winner to play for a state championship.
Yeah. And possibly win it.
Yeah, definitely.
Have a chance.
We have Seymour, too, and that's another district rematch in Class A. Seymour Stanford, and Seymour's playing pretty well. Stanford just beat Albany. You saw Stanford play. They got a lot of talent.
Stanford's got really just, they've got triplets. They've got a running back, receiver, and a really good quarterback who can run and throw. And I saw him on one leg, basically, and he ran for over 100 yards against Holiday. Holiday's an okay defensive team, as we've seen. So I was impressed with everything about Stanford, except they didn't have room for me in the press box.
Yeah.
They had a pretty good team on the field, which is what people care about.
Yeah. Hutchinson has 3 interceptions on the year. I think 24 touchdowns, and Hagen Hutchinson's the quarterback. 3 interceptions. And 2 of those interceptions were in the Seymour game that they won 35-28. They forced a lot of turnovers in that game. And, I think Stanford probably goes in thinking, well, we didn't play very well against them last time. We gave some stuff up. We didn't play as good as we could have played. And Seymour goes in with confidence. Hey, we just beat 2 unbeaten teams, and we're playing a team we've already beaten. So I think both teams kind of go in, feeling pretty good about themselves. And that should be a pretty close game too. I think it's going to be some scoring, maybe not as much as in the Windthorst Monday game. But
and I think Seymour will hope there's good enough weather to throw the ball there.
Yeah,
I think that gives them an advantage that the last few years they've been able to hit downfield passes. They've been able to hit some big plays in the passing game.
Yeah, I think 51, 63, and 77-yard touchdown catches last week. Yeah, last week was just a big play. They had one.
But they've been able to do that the last few years, even with a variety of I guess the other Barton kids at quarterback. They were able to the games I've covered. They've been able to get back in games and call their way back sometimes by protecting well enough to hit some big plays.
Yeah, for sure. So we got that, and then we got Throckmorton playing. Abbott they're going to win. They're kind of favored to win. Throckmorton, trying to get back to the title game. And Newcastle, they've had a good run. They play Richmond Springs team, the defending state champs. It's going to be they're going to have their work cut out for them there. But
we got an 8-man team playing for a title too.
Yeah, Tipton,
Jim Kerbo's boys are. doing it, knocking off all the top ranked teams along the way.
Yeah, and they'll get a team that may not have their 80-game winning streak or whatever, but Shattuck is still one of the premier Class C teams in Oklahoma.
Yeah, playing Shattuck up there at this time of year is about like playing Windthorst down here this time of year. They're a team that's always this far in the playoffs.
Shattuck knocked out Temple last week, which was one of our other area teams, and that was kind of a little surprising when you found out Temple was up 20 in the fourth and lost.
Yeah. We almost had a matchup of two Southern Oklahoma teams there for a title.
Yeah, which would have been pretty cool. Well, tune in next week when we kind of recap what all happened and look ahead to maybe some state semifinal action.
Yeah, I bet we get somebody through.